Hey, thanks for joining us on this adventure as we are looking at the different types of ADHD. And this is the final video in this particular topic. 6 videos in total. Yes, this is video number 6 on the different types of ADHD. Now, this becomes important for a couple of things. When we talk about the prevalence of ADHD, we are talking anywhere between, 10% and some numbers as high as 20%. There are numbers that range from 10% of females, 20% of males, to, I would just say, somewhere between 10 and 11% of the population in the United States is impacted by attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in one of its forms. So we need to know what the different types are, because there's a lot of people who have one of these types or another, and then so that we can get really efficient and effective treatment for that individual impacted by that particular type of ADHD. So this video brings us to the last type that we're going to look at in this series, and that is the Eeyore type of ADHD. Now remember, we use characters from the Winnie the Pooh stories, from the 100-Acre Wood. And you'll remember Eeyore, that's the big stuffed donkey that they play pin the tail on the donkey with. And he is just depressed. He's the one who says, hey, thanks for noticing me. And I think I'll just wander over here now. And this is him. So not a lot of energy to him. Just kind of this low-grade depression that he has. And they say that as many as 20 to 25% of all people with attention deficit disorder have this profile in terms of their neurology. Now remember, ADHD is a complicated issue. It's neurobiological. There are biological reasons for it, neurological reasons, brain reasons for it. And then it's also environmental in many ways, that what we eat matters, and how much we sleep matters, and how much we take care of ourselves and exercise, and all these kinds of things are factored into how good or how bad one's ADD will be. But there's certain neurological profiles involved in this particular type of ADHD. Now, what we get across the front of the head with this profile, the Eeyore type of ADHD, is we get this classic, it may look normal, maybe a little bit underactive when there's nothing happening, no workload, whatever. But under a workload, becomes less active. But there are other areas of the brain that are sort of activated when we really don't want them to. And the limbic system is involved in this. I'll show you a picture of it in just a little bit. But because of the limbic system involvement, which we have talked about in another video in detail, because of that limbic system involvement and the frontal lobes in how they work or not, then this is what we get. We get this kind of profile of inattentive, kind of that hypoactive ADHD that we've talked about previously, inattentive, easily distracted by shiny things, disorganized, and this chronic low-grade sadness or negativity. The glass is always just half full. The cloud over my head is always just about to rain. Everything is just a bummer. We get low energy, a tendency to kind of be isolated from other people, that social withdrawal. I'm just going to go in my room, I'm going to wear black, I'm going to wear a video game, I'm just going to live in my own little world. It's not uncommon in this situation. And what goes along with depression in any form, no matter what the cause, is this sense of hopelessness, helplessness, worthlessness. This is all very, very common with depression. So it's unlikely that this person is going to be hyperactive. It's possible, but it's unlikely. What's more likely is they're just going to hang out in their room and be depressed. Now, let me talk about depression just for a minute. Whether it's with this particular profile of ADHD or whether it's with somebody who's not ADHD at all, depression is a very serious thing. Please don't take it lightly. Don't take it lightly if somebody says, yeah, I wish I just would go die. Don't don't take that lightly, because some people do that. So Sapolsky up at Stanford, in his really terrific lectures on depression, he points out that of all the people, and 23%, by the way, of all females in the United States will suffer from depression of one reason or another. That's a lot of moms. And he says that 20% of all people diagnosed with a clinical depression is because of hormone or thyroid issues. Low thyroid or hormones out of whack, 20%. So if you should experience depression and you just want to check out of daily routines and it's the light's too bright and you get up early and you're kind of agitated and whatever, it doesn't mean you've acquired this kind of ADHD. It means if you are depressed, go to a doctor right now. Just go see your doctor and make sure that he runs some kind of a good diagnostic panel on things like your thyroid and testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, all important. And if those all check out with a little bit better than normal levels and you're doing okay, then we'll treat depression as primarily a brain-mind kind of issue. But I thought it was fascinating. 20% of all people with clinical depression, it's a thyroid or hormone issue. So be aware of that. Okay, so this is the picture that you're looking at of a SPECT scan of brain with attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, and also depression. This particular type of neurological profile results in depression. And the most important thing that I want you to notice here is that the limbic system is overactive. And this is that emotional part of the brain. And in this case, it being overactive is causing the symptoms of depression. Low-grade depression, sure, sometimes severe, but often just low-grade sadness, nothing is good. I got a black cloud hanging over my head and it's going to rain on me. And this is sort of it. But I want you to see it is, in fact, a neurological issue. There are particular neurological profiles that can predict this, and also because you know the neurological profile, it can be treated fairly effectively and efficiently as long as you know exactly what it is that's going on. So again, in this profile, we have this underactivity across the front part of the brain. That's with the working memory, the executive functions, processing information, and so on. But we also have this increased activity deep in the brain in the limbic system, and particularly in parts of the brain called the thalamus and the hypothalamus. But it results in these feelings of sadness, depression, and so on. So this becomes the classic hypoactive profile that we talked about with Winnie the Pooh. It's just that the symptoms of depression are also there. So that hypoactive profile of ADHD is that slow-moving, lethargic, passive, often late. Hey, we got to go. We got to go. Late, kind of sluggish thinking, poor accuracy in details, just don't seem to care about the details of things. Sometimes say they're in a brain fog. They can seem easily confused. Certainly have a bad concept of time, how long it'll take to do something, and also what time it is. Often pays attention to the wrong thing, and often isn't really sure what the right thing to pay attention to is. Sometimes seems confused about that. Usually not disruptive at all. Usually wants to just sort of isolate him or herself in another world on their computer, or on their phone, just sort of escape that way. They are probably most often girls. Now, in terms of treatment, they don't respond well to stimulant medication. So the classic idea is, okay, this is an ADHD individual. We're going to give them Ritalin, Dexedrine, Adderall. It has about a 1 out of 5 chance of really making a day and night difference. It'd probably be better with some other approaches. And since there's this limbic system issue that causes the symptoms of depression, there may be some medications that would be used both as a mild antidepressant and also would perk up the brain. Again, this is something you got to go talk to your doctor about, not something I want to do on the video. So, just sit down with your pediatrician, your family practice doctor, and talk to him or her about that, about if there's a really great medication that would cover both of those things. And also, this profile tends to respond pretty well to therapy, to that talking therapy, sitting with a counselor, learning some new skills, learning ways to solve problems, learning ways to deal with the world. That kind of cognitive therapy, it's been shown to be effective with depression. Just a major depressive episode, it can be really helpful in this situation as well. So if this is the kind of ADHD that you're dealing with inside your home, with your child, with your teenager, with your spouse, maybe with yourself, fight the good fight. Hang in there and get the help that they need, and you're going to be really pleased with the kind of outcome that you can get, the kind of good results that you can get. Now, in the videos that we have still to come, in just the next few days, you're going to start getting videos on how to learn better, how to help your child, teenager, spouse, yourself, how to learn better. And the learning better things, this will be everything from classroom interventions to how to make your brain really, really healthy, really healthy, optimized, working better. So we're going to look at these things because it matters. It matters in the short term with performance, like better grades in school, earning more money at work, and it matters long term because you want to go into your 60s, 70s, and 80s with a healthy brain, not with a brain that's going to lead to dementia. So all of this matters, and you're going to start getting the videos real soon on brain health, brain optimization, and faster learning. So here they come.